Today, I'm removing the motor and transmission from my 1983 Mercedes 240D. About a year ago, the old engine gave out, and now it's time to get her back on the road. This is where I started for the day. Having previously removed the exhaust, power steering pump, drive shaft, and a few other small things, it's time for the real work. I started off by removing the two plugs on the brake fluid reservoir. Just squeeze the sides and you'll be able to pull it out. Some of the plugs come off easy, like this one did, while some of them are pretty stuck, like this one. Next, I turned my attention to the main fuel filter. I started to remove the fuel filter lines before I got distracted by the glow plug wiring and decided to wait for a bucket. The four glow plugs do not need to be removed, you just need to remove the nut on the end to get the wires off. I also made sure to net the route with wire takes so it saves me time down the road. After that was gone, I started to remove the throttle linkage assembly. It's held on by these two 10mm hex head bolts. I made sure to be careful while removing the assembly in order to document how everything goes. The last thing I want is to not be able to get it all back together, so it's important for me to know. This cable goes in behind this piece and it kind of just hooks in there, while this plate slides underneath. Now at the back of the engine, it was time to remove the remaining hoses. I ordered a bunch of the replacement hoses as they can be very brittle and easy to break sometimes. Thankfully, mine seemed okay. I didn't see any big cracks, so I'll probably just reuse it. Next, I unplugged any remaining wiring, like the alternator. Also, there are two hoses connected to the steering box. I had to use a breaker bar and a wrench to get them free, but I eventually got them out of the way. It was pretty difficult because there was no leverage in there. There was not very much space. So then I moved on to the vacuum lines. A lot of them were already cut or plugged, which probably explains why my main door lock on the driver's side doesn't activate all the other door locks the way it should. I still made sure to note which lines went where, so it's not a headache later. Can't forget to disconnect the wiring on the starter. Now I was finally able to return to the main fuel filter and get that out of there. I was shocked to see how black the diesel was in there. It makes me wonder if the oil mixed with the diesel when my engine blew. I can't wait to take this thing apart and get a good look at the internals. In another video I'll tear down the engine and show what blowing a rod at 70 miles per hour does to a block. The last few things I had to remove were the AC lines, the radiator, and the fan. With all that stuff out of the way, we'll have enough clearance to pull this motor out. With all that stuff out of the way, we'll have enough clearance to pull this motor out. I'd definitely recommend passing around your engine block several times, both above and below, to make sure you've gotten everything removed. We were now ready to pull the engine. Since the car had been parked on grass this whole time, me and my buddy had to roll it out into the paved spot in order to safely use the 2-ton engine hoist. It's worth noting that while a 1-ton hoist would probably be adequate, the 2-ton hoist is much better suited. The key difference between them is the boom extension. The smaller hoist isn't able to extend as far with the weight of an entire engine, so it can be hard to clear the bumper. Another essential tool is the load leveler. It lets you tilt the engine while you're hoisting it. If you have access to both of these, it'll make your life a lot easier when you're pulling this engine out. Since we were removing the motor and transmission, I made sure that the flex disc was unbolted from the back of the trans. After we got the car in the driveway, I jacked it up and removed the mounting bracket on the transmission while supporting it with my jack. I then attached the chains from the load leveler to the engine and undid the engine mounts and started to hoist the engine out as it was tilted. The only issue that was run into here was the hoist started to press up against the bumper of the car, so we had to extend the boom a little further in order for the engine to clear both the firewall and the bumper. But overall it was pretty easy, and my next steps are to seal up the new engine and get this transmission off, clean that up, and clean the engine bay out. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.